You just heard a piece of information about someone you know. You didn't ask for it. You didn't need it. But now you can't stop thinking about it. Why? You tell yourself you're above it. Gossip feels petty, small, beneath the kind of person you want to be. But the real answer is far stranger than shame or manners can explain. Your brain didn't build this habit by accident. It built it to keep you alive. Start with a simple question. What is gossip really? Strip away the judgment and it's just this. Information about who did what to whom. That's it. A story about behavior, passed from one person to another. And humans do this constantly. Studies tracking everyday conversation have found that roughly 2/3 of it is social talk about other people, not politics, not the weather. People talking about people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent years studying primates before he turned to humans, and he noticed something odd. Monkeys and apes don't gossip. They groom. They spend hours picking through each other's fur, not because they're dirty, but because grooming builds trust. It tells another animal, I have time for you. I am not your threat. But grooming only works one-on-one. You can't groom 100 allies. There isn't enough daylight in the day. Dunbar's theory is this. Language evolved, in part, as a replacement for grooming, a way to build and maintain relationships at scale. Instead of picking lice off one friend for 20 minutes, you can talk about 3 friends in the same 20 minutes. You can maintain more bonds, faster, with words than with hands. Gossip, in his view, isn't a flaw in human communication. It is the entire reason human communication got so big in the first place. Think about what that means. The thing you feel guilty for might be the very tool that let your species build tribes of 150 people instead of tribes of 15. Isn't that strange? The behavior that feels the smallest, the most trivial, might be load-bearing. But bonding is only half the story. Gossip does something else too. It polices behavior. Picture an ancestral group, maybe 40 people, sharing food, sharing shelter, sharing risk. In a group that small, everyone's actions matter to everyone else. If one person cheats, steals, or refuses to share, the whole group suffers. But you can't watch everyone all the time. You have your own hunting to do, your own children to feed. So how does a group catch a cheater without a full-time police force? It talks. Someone notices the cheating. They tell someone else. That person tells someone else. Within a day, the whole group knows. The cheater's reputation is damaged before they've even finished their meal. No trial, no punishment handed down by an authority. Just words. Moving faster than the cheater can outrun them. Researcher Matthew Feinberg tested this directly. In a series of experiments, he had participants play economic games where some players could act selfishly at the group's expense. When other players were allowed to gossip about the selfish players, warning future partners, cooperation across the whole group went up. Gossip, in his data, functioned as a low-cost, high-speed enforcement system. It made people behave better, simply because they knew their behavior might become a story. Here's the part that should make you pause. You already know this instinctively. Think about how differently you act when you believe no one is watching versus when you know word gets around. That second feeling, the awareness that your actions might become someone else's conversation, is doing more moral work in your daily life than you probably give it credit for. Isn't it a little unsettling how much of your good behavior depends on being seen? So gossip binds groups together and it keeps people honest. But there's a third function, one that's easier to miss because it feels selfish. Gossip is how you learn to navigate a social world without getting hurt in it yourself. Psychologist Frank McAndrew has spent decades studying gossip's role in social strategy. His research suggests people gossip most about those closest to them in social rank, the peers they compete with directly, not distant strangers. You don't spend much energy gossiping about a stranger on the other side of the world. You spend it on the coworker up for the same promotion, the friend dating someone in your circle, the neighbor whose choices somehow feel relevant to your own life. Why? Because that information is useful. It tells you who is trustworthy and who isn't, who is rising and who is falling, who to align with and who to avoid. In a world without newspapers, without background checks, without online reviews, gossip was the only database humans had. It was Yelp for people, running for 200,000 years before Yelp existed. And this is where the modern mirror comes in, because you are still running that same database today. You just don't call it gossip anymore.